to the Morale Booster Network, a platform for entrepreneurs, career professionals, leaders, and the general public to give back to the society through coaching and mentoring. I remain your host, Dr. John Ugulu. I am an author, speaker, and strategist. I always say experience is the best teacher. You can stream or download this podcast from YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Player FM, and Pandora. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome once again to another beautiful episode of the Morale Booster podcast. And today I have with me Dan Adkins. He's based here in Georgia, and he's a man who has so much experience in public speaking and coaching. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would have him come, say something right now. But before I do that, I want to introduce him. And before the introduction, remember, like and share this broadcast. I always tell you to like and share it. And here's the reason why I typically ask you to share the broadcast. It's because you might just be saving the life of that one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear this message. Now, there's so many people out there who are going through challenging times. There's so many people out there whose businesses are at the brink of bankruptcy. There's so many people who no longer understand what leadership styles to adopt to move them from where they are to where they want to be. There's so many people who are going through health challenges. And for those reasons, the Morale Booster is a platform where we bring people with different levels of experience to come and share. So even if it doesn't resonate with you today, trust me, there is definitely somebody on your contact list that the message would resonate with. So please like and share it. So our guest for today is Dan Adkins. Dan is a sought-after speaker and presentation coach. He's known for his engaging and impactful style. He has shared his expertise with businesses and organizations across the United States and has lectured at Indiana University's Ernie Pyle College of Journalism. And when it comes to presentation, we know there are so many people out there who are scared, who tremble when it's time for them to do that. So Dan is an expert coach in presentation. He teaches people how to be confident when presenting. He has guided C-level executives, non-profit leaders, and ministers in crafting and delivering compelling messages. Now, his experience includes 6 seasons of Saturday Night Live and work on major feature films, where he has honed his skills alongside some of the world's most renowned celebrities. He has also learned advanced messaging techniques from top-tier speakers globally. Now, Dan's coaching system blends energy, humor, and business acumen, empowering his clients to captivate, inspire, and leave a lasting impact. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I want you to join me as I welcome no other person but the great speaker and presentation coach, no other person but Dan Adkins. So, Dan, welcome to the Morale Booster podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gulu. And I'm going to call you John.
Yes,
because it's easier for it to come out of my mouth.
Yes,
I appreciate such a kind introduction, and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. It's a pleasure and a privilege having you here. First of all, it takes energy
Yeah.
to, to come on a platform and share your story. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, energy, and I really do appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here and share one or two with my audience. So welcome once again.
Well, that's very kind of you, and I appreciate your inviting me. And it
Right,
does,
right.
it takes some energy, but that's what I teach, because it takes energy to communicate with people as well. So
Mm,
when somebody is presenting or speaking, it takes energy to to uh, to engage them and to make sure that your message is heard and heard in the right way. So
that's correct.
for me, this is a huge opportunity to test myself, as well as to hopefully help some other people while I'm here and give some value.
Yes, that's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like and share it because you might just be helping that one person who has been waiting for such an opportunity. Now, Dan,
Yes.
I used to be a very shy person, like so shy that I couldn't even imagine myself standing in front of an audience or
Mhm.
presenting in front of a crowd or even having a podcast. But, by the grace of God, I was able to rise above shyness. I was able to take some steps, some some very, very necessary steps that helped me overcome shyness. And in fact, I had to write a book titled From Shyness to Public Speaking to share that same experience, what I did to help myself overcome shyness. So
That's
now
fantastic.
my question to you is what what brings about shyness, lack of composure, or shame, or fear, when it comes to public speaking or facing a crowd? Why?
Sure.
What leads to that?
Well, I have a few ideas on that, and I must preface it by saying that I'm not a counselor, I'm not a neurologist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist,
Mm,
but I am a person who understands some logic, and I have had my fears on more than one occasion to
mm.
get up in front of people, and now I get up in front of people, and it's, in fact, I enjoy the idea as
Right.
opposed to being scared of it. But one thing is that the fear of speaking is somewhat of a habit. It's a mindset.
Mm.
So I'll give a quick story here. I hate going to the dentist, and to any dentists in your audience, I apologize, but I hate going to the dentist. I've had some bad experiences when I was younger, and it shaped me. So the other day I broke a tooth, and of course I had to go to the dentist.
Mm.
And I'm a white knuckler, man. I'm like this in the dentist's office.
Yeah.
So as expected, I went into the dentist, and she, the big thing is open your mouth, open wide, and then she had a needle that was probably this long. It felt like
Mm.
that. And I thought, oh no, she's going to stick that right in me, and she did. And I, I I didn't really feel much of it, so I have to say. So I thought, oh, okay, well, and she stuck me numerous times.
Mm.
Then the next thing, I hear the hated sound that I've always hated at the dentist, and she's whittling down my tooth. So we go on. Now she did hit a nerve a couple of times, and I pretty much
Oh.
flung to the ceiling like a cat. But it was only for a couple of seconds, and then she finished up, and I needed a crown, and she put a temporary on. So I was walking out, and I thought, I spent an hour and a half, and on the pain scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is way low and 10
Yeah.
is way high, except for when she hit the nerve, which was, like I say, only a couple of times and only for a couple of seconds.
Mm.
My pain level was maybe a 2.5. What I realized was I didn't really have any pain. I
Mm.
just anticipated what was going to happen. And
Yes.
everything I anticipated was bad.
Yes.
Well, that's what people do when they're scared of speaking in a lot of cases. they anticipate themselves getting up in front of people, forgetting what they're going to say, having people throw rocks and tomatoes at them, or, in some other way, lose respect for them, or think they're boring or fall asleep or whatever it is. Those are very conquerable items. And that's a lot of what I teach, is moving past that anticipated fear, because there are exercises that you can do before you go on that will take the nerves way down,
Right.
and will help you walk on stage with some confidence. And also your material needs to be, and I work a lot with people's, with what they're going to say and the way they're going to say it, because sometimes you tongue tie yourself.
Yes.
That doesn't help you. I also inform people that if they're somewhere and they get a little lost, take a breath. Nobody out in the audience knows what you're doing. You say, well, I'm going to do whatever your speech is about. You say, this is such and such and such and such. And you think, oh, I'm lost now. I'm lost. So just go, hold that moment.
Yes.
And then you remember, you calm yourself, and you go, oh, okay, here I am again. And you go on. People don't know. They have no idea. They just think you're thinking, or you're getting ready to really deliver. And so if you take a breath, breathing is a huge part of speaking and calming yourself if you focus on the breath. And I do a lot of work with that, because people don't do a lot of that. So anyway, back to your question. I think people have these anticipations. I think maybe they had a bad experience when they were younger, or, throughout their lives, people said, shut up, shut up, shut up, or whatever
Maybe.
they have been. And
Maybe.
so they get reticent, and they get a little fearful and scared. And these are easy things. Well, they're not easy things to conquer, because you have to change the habit of that. But once you do, boy, it's free floating.
Exactly. Yes, I agree with you on that. And coincidentally, I went to the dentist today. I went to get a cleaning. So
Everybody out there, I did not know that. Okay.
So when you were saying all that, I'll say yes, yes, yes. Sometimes I get really scared going there.
Well, when I was sitting in the dentist chair, I thought, look, I teach this for a living. Breathe. Breathe. It doesn't really hurt. You're just thinking it's going to.
Right.
So breathe, and focus on that.
Yes.
And anyway, so that's something that I need to learn for myself, and have learned about speaking. But the dentist is a little different issue. So
right. So thank you so much for sharing that with. Now we'll talk about. First of all, people who are not comfortable mixing up with others, people who are not comfortable with crowds like I used to be.
Sure.
They tend to always shy away from networking events. And I remember back then, when I was a shy person, if I was in a room filled with strangers, I always do my best just to speak with one person, just 1, 2 people, and that's it. But right now, when I get into any room, I want to speak with everybody. I want to get, So
Yeah.
what share with us what the importance of networking is, and how shy people can break the barrier of shyness and network freely.
Well, it's interesting you asked me about that, because that was something I taught to MBA students at Indiana University at the Kelley School of Business, was networking, because they really they had problems with some interviewing skills. These were very, very smart people, very smart, but their social skills, they were mostly engineers, and their objective was to be right and not make a mistake. And so they were not overly socially adept, but they had it in them. They just They just didn't know it, and they needed somebody to help them bring it out a little bit and have confidence with it.
Right.
So when you get in a room networking, now I will say, John, that I usually focus on a few people only because I'm there to build a relationship with someone. I'm not just there to talk about business or to grow my business. I'm there to find out about people and to build relationships with them. And it's hard to do if there are 40 people in a room,
Right.
you know, spending 30 seconds with each one or however it's done. So I tend to focus on, you know, 5 or 10 people, whatever I can fit in. I don't pressure myself to do more, but what I do is start the conversation.
Right.
And generally in a networking situation, if it's supposed to be a networking situation and everybody knows it, if you just walk up and introduce yourself and say, "Hey, I'm Dan Adkins, and I try to help female entrepreneurs improve their speaking skills. How about yourself? What do you do?" Or however I position it. And so, and usually they'll respond, and then you find points of commonality, whatever they are. You know, maybe that person is from St. Louis and you lived in St. Louis, you know, for 3 years. And it's like,
Yes.
oh, I love St. Louis, or whatever it may be. And you're immediately beginning to bond. And whatever it is, maybe their parent is, uh, you know, having some medical problems, and yours is too, or maybe they read a certain book, and you go, oh, I know that book,
Mm.
and uh, and so you find a point of commonality, whatever it is, and just build a relationship. Don't worry about the business aspect of it
Right.
initially. The whole idea is to build a special, you know, short-term bond with that person, because you only have a short term to do it.
Mm.
And you know, most networking events that I've been to, people exchange cards, and so you take that card and you go home and you write them an email. Boy, it was great to see you. I really enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to have coffee one day, or something of that nature.
Right.
And if it's on a Zoom or on a some uh, online situation, then you try and hook up them with them in a different way, and that's mainly, hey, would you send me your email address? I'd like to stay in touch. Or are you on WhatsApp? Let's get in touch, or whatever it may be in that regard. I think we might be able to have a great conversation, or we might be able to help each other.
Right.
And so that's how I do networking. Now everybody's different, but I find that very, very successful. But one reason is because I'm genuine about it. I'm
Right.
interested in other people. I
Yeah.
like to learn about people. And so you know, you have to be, you don't have to be aggressive, but you have to be a little assertive just to start the conversation.
Mm.
I guarantee you it's a learned skill. And I guarantee you that if you walk into the grocery store and you don't know anybody in there, and you see somebody who's looking at the grape jelly, and you walk up and say, "Hey, have you had this grape jelly before? Because I've had this other one, but
Mm.
I want to know if this one's any good. It's a little bit cheaper, and I think my kids would like it better."
Yeah.
Then you've started a conversation, and before you walk out, you'll learn that their Uncle Henry, you know, shot Freddie in the foot when they were kids, and you know, he's in jail now, of course. But you
Right.
know, Aunt Mady, she makes the best pies. They'll
Mm.
tell you everything that you never wanted to know,
That's true.
and that's fine, because people like to talk about themselves,
Hmm.
and you're building a relationship by being a listener. And then
Right.
at some point, if you have a business, as a for instance,
Mm.
and you're listening, somebody will say, well, I'd really like to do, let's say your business is beauty supplies or something. well, I'd really like to try some of these things, but I just, I haven't been able to. Well, you know, I have a business that has something to do with that. I might be able to help you.
Mm.
Boom. Now it's a business conversation.
Yes.
But if it doesn't go that way, maybe you've made a friend, and maybe that friend has a friend, and maybe
Mm.
that friend has a friend. So it is, it is the old fashioned way
Mm.
to do things in terms of growing your business, but it'll grow your life. And
Yes.
maybe you like them so much that you say, "Look, I'm having some people over for dinner on Friday. Would you like to come?"
Mm.
And before you know it, you're good friends.
And
So
that's true.
so that's where I come from in terms of network. And I will tell you that in terms of business, a lot of the MBA students that I worked with, they would talk about, some CEO of somewhere was coming to network with them, and I said, well, you're signed up for that, right? And they said, well, I don't think he can do anything for me. And I
Oh,
say, well, sorry, but your attitude is seriously messed up. It's not what he can do for you; it's what you can do for him.
hmm,
And you don't know. You're you're a student. You don't have any idea what is in his basket,
right.
and he might know, and he may meet you and say, you know, I don't have any place for you in my company, but I've got a friend who, and the next thing you know, you have an opportunity.
Mm.
So it's more about trying to be altruistic and help people in any way, or make a friendship, than it
Right.
is about selling. And that's how a lot of people view it. They're scared because they're trying to sell something. Don't sell something. Just have a conversation. It may
That's
not be
true.
the person you're with.
I agree with you on that because you might want to sell what they don't need. So that
Well,
way,
exactly. You
that
don't know.
way
Yeah.
you're already coming out as you're already showing up as a salesperson, and nobody wants to stand with a salesperson. It could be boring.
Exactly. And useless. I mean, other than
Exactly.
you're nice enough to listen to somebody, but they're selling something that you don't need. So, you
Yes.
know, uh, if 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 you can, if you know their needs and you can present some value, that's
Mm,
one thing. But even still, don't sell them. Just meet them. Just engage
mhm.
and build a relationship. So when you realize that you can help them, if you can, then suddenly they're very open to what you're
Right.
saying,
Right.
and they want to know because
Mm.
you've built this relationship and they trust you.
Right.
So, um,
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. That was very valuable because
well, I hope
um,
so. Thank you.
oh yes, yes, very, very valuable because I picked some really valuable information from that, and I know there's so many. I network a lot. Still, there were certain things you said that resonated with me. For example, you talked about people liking to talk about themselves. So that's a good strategy. Going to a networking event and igniting that atmosphere that would make the person you're meeting talk about themselves. It gives them a sense of um, belonging, engagement, pride, and things like it makes them feel special when they
Yeah.
when they're in. It puts them in their comfort zone because they're talking about themselves. So
Well,
I,
you know this, John, and I'm sure everybody who's listening knows this, and that is that people, uh, they they're happy to listen to certain things, but they want to know what's in it for them. And
yes,
it's all about the radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me? And
wow,
so when you when you come from the point of view of offering to them as opposed to trying to get them to do something, or pay you or whatever it may be, and you're just offering a conversation or a friendship or an ear, people are very willing to at least, explore that.
Right.
And of course, if you're at a business networking event, then people expect that, and they're going to ask you things too. But if you can be more of a listener than a talker, you're probably going to be better off.
Right. Right. So thank you so much for sharing that. So, what programs do you have for people who are struggling with shyness, or not shyness, people who want to get into public speaking, or people who want to become great at presenting, at doing presentations?
Yeah, I actually don't work with a lot of people who want to become speakers, although I'm happy to. But I tend to work with people who have to speak for one reason or another.
Right.
So if they're entrepreneurs, they have to tell people about their business.
Mm.
Speaking is the fastest way to grow your business, period, in the end. If you're
Yes.
doing podcasts, you're speaking. If you're doing webinars, you're speaking. If
Mm.
I don't care where you are, speaking is the key. So so a lot of people are forced into speaking, and with C-level executives, they present to board members. They present to the leadership team. They present to their team. They're presenting all the time, and a lot of them, are very scared to do this. That it's 41%, I believe, of the executives that were polled in this one large poll said that was the worst part of being in business, was having to make a presentation.
Mm.
So there's a lot of that out there. And I know many entrepreneurs they don't start out wanting to get in front of people and tell people about their business. They start out wanting to go on social media or something and just do it that way. And you can do that, but doing a video is more successful, and on social media, and also when you email, if you include a link to a video, it's much more successful. So what I have for people is, and the main thing that I focus on initially, and it depends on where in the process they are, of course, because I tailor everything to my coaching clients.
Mm.
But uh, generally speaking, they come to me because they have a fear and they want to get over the nerves before speaking. And I
Mm.
have a process that I teach that is fairly simple. It's not easy because we're changing a habit, and it takes, on average, it takes 66 days to change a habit.
Wow.
So, yeah, there was a doctor who came out and did a sample of some of his patients, and he said it's 21 days. That lasted for several decades. And then they actually did a bunch of research on it and found that it takes, really, to change a habit, depending on the habit, it'll take from 21 days to 254 days.
Mm.
But the average is about 66 days.
Oh,
So
okay.
I offer a 3-month program for people to get beyond that habit, and there are various things that I offer within that. In fact, I'll offer to your audience right now, if they want to have a 30-minute discovery call, and where I'll actually do an analysis and a follow-up with them on their speaking and where they are.
Mm.
They're welcome to contact me at danadkinsspeaks.com, and I'm doing a webinar, so they have to sign up for the webinar. That's on the 30th, and
Okay.
and so but we can have a phone call before or after that, as they would like. I'd be happy to help them. I do less than 3 months. I have a shorter program, but it really is a little bit like putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. And the reason is because the effectiveness of it is short-lived.
Mm.
I've had many executives call me and say, "Hey, I need your help. I have a speech day after tomorrow." I was like, "Well, okay, I'll help you, but it's, maybe you'll remember this for your speech. Maybe you'll be able to do it. Maybe you'll be able to incorporate some of it, but you're not going to change what you do that quickly." So it's
Right.
very difficult just to put people, spin people on their heads. So so I really am not totally tied to, but relatively tied to my 3-month program.
Mm.
And that will allow people to get standing ovations and wow the audience and really own the spotlight in the room, and have the confidence of walking in, and people are going to say, "Ooh, there he or she is. Okay, we got to sit up and listen." And it will interject some humor into the things they want to do. We'll get them more used to presenting, but we'll
Right,
also have a
right.
lot of techniques to deal with everything, with the fear, with your presence on stage. How
Mm.
do you stand there and just give it to them and lay it out? And we work on all of that.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. So you have a great package, and that's good. You see, a lot of people need what you have. I know a lot of people who find it challenging
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do presentations. It's, you know, back then it was a major problem for me. It was a major challenge for me. So yes, what you're doing is great, and please keep doing what you do.
Well,
Now,
thank
for
you,
those
John.
of you who, you're welcome. For those of
You know,
you who are listening to us right now, please remember to like and share this broadcast, because you might just be saving the life of that one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear this message. Now, if you want to reach out to Dan, he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on Twitter and LinkedIn. But what I have noticed is that he's not active on Facebook, he's not active on Twitter and
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes, but send him a direct message on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, I'm pretty active on.
Yes, yes,
And
reach out to him. Yeah.
you can go to danadkinsspeaks.com, and
Okay.
if you sign up for my webinar, you don't necessarily have to come. I'd love to have you there, but
Mm.
if it doesn't work for your schedule or something like that, that's fine. I'll still respond to you, and I'll send you a workbook that'll get you started. And even if you don't work with me, it'll at least give you some value and some places to alter what you're doing and see if you can benefit from that.
Awesome. That's great. So remember, you would find his contact information right there with you. His website is Dan Adkins
.com.
speaks.com. So go there right now. So do you have any books that you have published, and where can they find them?
Well, that's kind of you to ask, and yes, I do. I have one book that I've published. It's available on Amazon, and it has nothing to do with my business. It is called "Gifts from My Father," and the subtitle is a positive gifts from business and life, or for business and life. I'm sorry. From a journey through dementia. My father had dementia. He was a brilliant man. He taught me wonderful things. And while he had dementia, I learned so much. And I turned that into positive ideas rather than kind of wallowing in the grief of that disease, which is awful. So many
Mm.
people have been touched by it now. And if you're touched by it, uh, Gifts from My Father can at least let you know what may happen. It gives there are many types of dementia. They don't all run the same way, but there are a lot of things that tend to occur for people with Alzheimer's is the most prominent dementia, and there are
Right.
things that occur for those people. And so, but not everybody has the same path.
Mm.
But it just kind of lets you know that the day you walk in and this has happened, well, that's a little bit of a progression from what was happening. And they go back and forth too. So
Oh, okay.
um,
Okay. So it's available on Amazon, right?
It is Dan Adkins, and it's Gifts from My Father,
All right.
and bigger than life. So
Right. So if you can hear us right now, please go and grab a copy. Go purchase a copy on Amazon.com. And also, we expect you to follow him on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like I said, he's not active on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, but yes, he is active on. He has more activities on LinkedIn. To follow him, and you can also visit his website, danadkinsspeaks.com. It's one word, danadkinsspeaks.com. So thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. And as part of our um, ritual or procedure or process, before you go, we would like for you to, based on your life experience, I know you
mhm.
have seen a thing or two. You have experience both, from all areas, from so many areas of life. Um, Typically, there will be somebody who's listening to us right now because this program is global. We're currently streaming on over 30 platforms right now. Just three, only three platforms can actually see the video, but we have more
Ah,
uh, people who are listening to the audio. So those people on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube can see us, but the other 20 plus something, they cannot see us. They can just hear us.
I
So from
understand.
wherever they're listening, there's definitely somebody out there who is going through a challenging time, who feels that what they're going through right now is so bad that they don't even see light at the end of the tunnel. Could you please just motivate that person, that man or that woman who's listening for just
Well,
1 minute?
I can do my best, and oftentimes you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's the oncoming train, and that's not what you want. You want the hope and the opportunity to get out of whatever it is. And one of the things that I've learned that is important is you take one thing at a time, and you can only control what you can control. So if there are things that are happening outside of you, you just have to let them be what they're going to be because you have no control over them. You might be able to control your reaction to them. For instance, if that is my dad dying from dementia, I couldn't control that. What I could control was my reactions to it. So when you have these things, whether it's a diagnosis that's not good, or whether it's a business situation that you're concerned about, you you can control what you can control and begin with one thing that you can try and conquer to make it better, and then go to another thing. Now, I personally come from a Christian background, so I put my trust in God, but people put their trust in many other things. And I think it's very difficult when you're going through those things not to have a higher power. But uh, nonetheless, I still have to take things one at a time and accomplish something and go, okay, I've got that out of the way. And the next thing, oh, okay, I've got that out of the way. And eventually dig yourself out of the hole that may have been dug for you or that you've dug yourself. And usually me, I've dug it myself. So the I always try and get people to look at the hope. There are people out there who love you. There are people out there who like you. There are many people out there who want you around and want you to be happy. And if you have support from close friends, it's fantastic. But if you don't, there are people there that you don't even know that know you, and they want you to succeed. They want you to be have a happy life. And keep that in mind the whole time, and then take things one at a time, control what you can control, and then smile at people, make friends, Go talk to people, network, and you'll see that, people used to say when I was in a deep hole, people would say, well, there are a lot of people worse off than you. And I know that. And there are millions of them. I am very blessed with the many things that I've been able to do in my life. But you know what? When I was in a hole, it didn't matter if there were people worse off because I was where I was. But when you talk to people, it gives you a gentle feeling that helps you recommit to conquering whatever it is that's holding you back and that's concerning you, and finding ways, finding ideas. So that's what I'll say about it.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was very, very valuable, and we want to thank you for showing up to add some value to this program. It's all about adding value to people out there, and your message has been so powerful, impactful, and I know for sure, for a fact, that your message has actually transformed someone. But I don't know who that person is, but that person is listening to us right now. So thank you so much. And
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, once again, I like to remind you that whatever has a beginning also has an end. It
that's
is
true.
about that time for us to wrap up this episode so that we can go and digest every information that has been shared here today. So I don't know where you're listening to me from. You who's listening to me right now, I don't know where you're listening to me from. I don't know what you know about yourself. Neither do I know what the people around you know about you. But there is one thing that I know for sure about you who's listening right now. I know you have greatness within you. I know you have everything within you to change your situation. I know you have everything within you to transition from where you are to where you want to be. It is innate, but sometimes you might need guidance from people like Dan and myself. So please seek help when help is needed. Reach out if you need any form of assistance to help you transition from where you are to where you want to be. Always remember that you have greatness within you. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. God bless you all. Thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure having you here. And I hope when next I invite you, you will come join us.
I, Thank you so very much. You're very kind, and I want to add one thing to what you just said, and that is, yes, do reach out. You have a man right here who has
Yes.
the morale booster. Don't ignore that. Get in touch with him. Use his abilities and his intellect and his help that he can lend to you. Don't just, go, well, I'll be okay. It's always good to have someone help you. So,
Yes.
and John is the perfect person if you're down.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate you, sir. I really appreciate that. It's a pleasure and a privilege. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want you all to have a wonderful rest of your day, have a wonderful weekend, have a wonderful life because it is possible. God bless you all and bye for now.